everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and this is Superhero Rewind. Ultimate Avengers is based on the Ultimates comics by Mark Millar, though maybe more loosely than it ought to have been. It's an attempt to do an adult superhero animated movie, but suffers from also trying to appeal to people who have never heard of the Avengers. I don't think you can really do both. After all, what adults are really going to buy a PG-13 animated superhero movie about iconic popular characters they've never heard of? Heck, what adults who might consider buying a PG-13 animated superhero movie have never heard of the Avengers? So what we have is a 70-minute movie that spends most of its time setting up 8 different characters, all based on their Ultimate Comics counterparts, and doesn't get a chance to tackle a real story. What is here is mostly very good, and it's far from unwatchable. It simply left me wanting more and wishing I didn't have to sit through 50 minutes of Origin before anything really happened. It has that in common with Fantastic Four. There are a lot of different mini-stories here, and the movie tries to weave them together into a cohesive whole, but it never really manages it. Captain America is found frozen in ice, revived, and he has a character arc of trying to put his life back together and cope with lost time. Bruce Banner is trying to get the super soldier serum working for Nick Fury, who plans to create a new super soldier army, only it turns out Banner's actually trying to use the serum to control the Hulk. Then there's a threat of an alien invasion, and S.H.I.E.L.D. tells Fury to start Project Avenger, even though he wants to push his super soldier project forward instead. So we follow Fury as he tries to recruit the superheroes on S.H.I.E.L.D.'s shortlist. Iron Man isn't interested, Wasp wants in, but only if Hank Pym is allowed in, Thor isn't interested, and Captain America reluctantly agrees to lead, but he doesn't really feel up to it. So the heroes Fury does manage to put together talk about the alien threat in an unnecessarily long meeting scene. I was baffled when Iron Man shows up with no explanation as to why he's suddenly interested in being an Avenger. The movie wastes a good 10 minutes having Fury go to Tony Stark looking for Iron Man, who says he doesn't know him and didn't supply his armor, but gives Fury some weapons, and then it has Fury go to Iron Man, who isn't interested in joining the team and has an amusing line about how Stark sold Fury some lousy weapons. But I just don't get why he goes through all this trouble trying to get Fury to leave him alone just to show up and join the team later. And that meeting scene is also weird because Fury says, if any of you want out, tell me now, and no one says anything. But we know at least 2 of them don't want to be there in the first place. Now I guess we're supposed to assume that now that they know what the threat is, they can't back out in good conscience. What did they think the threat was gonna be? Mysterio? It feels more like the pilot for a TV series than a movie to me. It doesn't tell a story so much as establish people's existence. There isn't enough time to make us really understand or care about most of these characters. Tony Stark seems to have a chip on his shoulder, but I don't know why. The one subplot I was invested in is Captain America's. He goes through a good, solid character arc of winding up in a world he doesn't recognize, that almost everyone he cared about is gone now, wishing he had died in his own time and coming to terms with what his life is now, and that he has a new opportunity to serve his country. But this certainly isn't new territory for Captain America, and again, it's more of an origin than a character arc, nor is it the bulk of the movie. And Banner's story is decent too. I'm glad it doesn't do the Hulk's origin on top of Captain America's. The reveal of Banner trying to control the Hulk is good, and I wish the movie had been more about that than a hackneyed alien invasion, just for the sake of having some sort of external conflict. If it's supposed to be about anything, it's teamwork. The Avengers fail at their first mission, stopping the aliens, the Chitauri, from stealing S.H.I.E.L.D.'s secrets because they can't work as a team. Then at the end, they finally accept Captain America as their leader, work together, and beat the aliens in a single battle. I think a much better movie could have been made that began at that final battle and then moved forward with a more centralized plot. After all, the Avengers only become a team after a huge threat forces them all to come together. Fury couldn't get them to work as a team, but Immediate Danger did, so why not just start there, like the Justice League animated series did? A huge global threat of cosmic proportions threatens the world, and one hero can't handle it alone, so several get together, defeat the threat, and then realize forming an official team for these sorts of emergencies is a good idea. Then you can get on with your story, and this fight really is the best part. It looks great, and it's fun to see everyone fight the Hulk. I said this feels like the beginning of a TV show, and I think it could have been a great one. It has one sequel, and I haven't seen it yet, but all the trappings are there for a good series. The voice work is excellent despite my not recognizing most of the cast. The only name I knew immediately was Nolan North, who voices Nathan Drake in PlayStation's Uncharted franchise. There was an online voice casting search which gave fans the opportunity to audition for this, but I don't think anyone was actually hired that way. As far as I can tell, all these actors had worked before. I love the animation. It's crisp, has a lot of depth, and I love the lighting and shading. The dialogue is well written, and seems to be trying to achieve the caliber of the best live-action comic book movie dialogue. Early in the movie, Bruce Banner asks a team of scientists if they had any questions. They all raise their hands. Then he says, "Any questions not about the Hulk?" The first thing Captain America says when he's thawed is, "Did we win?" And when Thor joins the fight at the end of the movie, Giant Man asks, "Who's the chick with the hammer?" Iron Man replies, "I don't know, but whoever she is, I'm glad she's on our side." I also like how the Ultimate costumes translate to animation, especially Captain America's, and after seeing this movie again, I'm especially looking forward to seeing that costume in live action. I really like that this is PG-13, but the adultness of it isn't forced in. There isn't any swearing that I noticed, and if I missed any, that's a testament to the writing. There's some blood, but it isn't out of place, and it's certainly a very mild PG-13. There's not much that would keep me from showing this to a young kid. But since it is aimed at adults, it's too bad it doesn't weave a more complex story. I'm going to give Ultimate Avengers a 2.5 out of 4. What's here is good, but because it's mostly set up for the last 20 minutes, it isn't nearly as fun and thrilling as it had the potential to be.